Okay guys, welcome to my channel. It's been a while since I've created any videos on any tutorials at all. Together with this series I'm creating also the command line revolutions for my teacher. And today, or in this series, we are gonna create a test lab just for testing. So to test GPOs or any domain settings. I think maybe I'm gonna create an exchange machine as well. So stay tuned for that one. And I'm going to use Hyper-V as my virtualizer. I've already created my internal network with 192.168.230/24. I'm going to use 24 network, so we will have a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, and we're just going to click OK. If you're not familiar with Hyper-V or base disks, because I'm using my base disk, I just created one. Please look at my other tutorials, and I'm sure and I hope they're helpful for you. I'm calling this machine dc1.example.com. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to create multiple DCs, but I'm just giving it the number to be sure that if I ever want to add a new machine, that it doesn't have the same name. So that was the differencing disk. Now we are going to create the virtual machine. Next, dc1.example.com. I'm going to store the machine in a different location, so it creates here a map in my location called dc1.example.com, and there it stores all the files in and not directly on my location. That can be sometimes annoying. We're going to create a generation 2 virtual machine because we're working with Windows Server 2012 R2, and generation 2 is the best gen to use it when you're using Hyper-V. I'm connected to the network. I'm using an existing virtual disk. We're selecting the virtual disk we just created, the differencing disk. We're going to click finish. And I'm going to start this machine, and I think it's going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the screen until we have something to do, and I'll be back. Okay, and we're back. So one of the things I just remembered, I like to keep a static IP file. So for all my servers, they need a static IP address. So it's useful to do this if you have multiple computers on the one network, and later for if we're going to configure the DSP, we know on which range we can set it. Otherwise, we're going to put it on somewhere where the servers are. So country region, Netherlands, app language, Dutch. I'm in the Netherlands, so I'm gonna leave this as it is. My product key, I will put it in later. You can put it in directly. I accept all the terms, and just you fill in your password. You have the minimum of one special character, one number, and one caps lock letter and one normal letter. So, oh, that's the wrong button. Well, Control Delete to log in. Don't push it actually on your keyboard because you will lock out your screen, your own screen. Just use the button on the top left corner. Re-input your password. And I think this first server, I'm gonna put this on the 10. And subnet mask. And then just the name of the server, just so I can remember which server it is. dc1.example.com. So this is my server. It's starting up, it's a little bit slow. No problems there. I'm gonna accept my BG info. On how to do all of this, creating the bases, because I configured this, all the settings on my base disk. If you want to know how, please follow my other video. I'll put a link in the description. Okay, so I'm gonna try, and first off we are going to insert integration service disk, so I can use the bigger screen for you guys to see it a little bit better. me see, where is the auto run? Yep. I think it's saying, yeah, it's already installed, but I don't know why I can't join the enhanced session. Maybe if I reopen it. Okay, well, we'll see how this goes. First off, what you want to do is change the host name. Well, you have multiple ways to go. You can go through the server manager, local server, and just click on the computer name, and then change. And I'm gonna call the server DC1, because it's dc1.example.com. Example.com is my forest name, so never put this, put the whole name in your server name, but just the DC1 is enough. I'm not gonna restart just yet. I'm gonna open my network interfaces. I like to rename my Ethernet adapter to the right IP address that I'm gonna give it, and then we're just statically assigning it to the interface. Oh, 1 second. .10. Okay, no default gateway because we're using an host-only network. The preferred DNS is own IP. You can use 127.0.0.1, but I prefer to use the real IP for if you're ever gonna mess up your DNS otherwise. And now we're gonna restart. Let me see how long this is gonna take. Maybe I have to pause it. I'll be right back. Okay, I've rebooted my server, and as you can see, I can now use the enhanced session. I will just connect full screen so you guys can see it better. I will insert my password, and then we're gonna start configuring Active Directory. So what we have done until now is changing the name and setting an IP address statically. You will see when my BG info refreshes, the hostname will be correct and the IP address. Give it a second, because Server Manager is also starting. Look, here it is. DC1 192.168.230.10. DNS server, the same, default gateway empty, and DSP server is not yet configured on this network, so it's empty as well. First, what you want to do when you're installing a DC correctly, you first want to create to install the DNS services and create the reverse zone. If you're not familiar with this, please look it up in the internet, because I know how to explain it in Dutch, but not as well to explain it in English. Well, I can give it a try while it's installing. It's like DNS. The main reason for DNS is translating a hostname to an IP address. What the reverse DNS does, it's exactly the opposite. So it takes the user or the IP address and looks which hostname is associating with that IP. We're just gonna install the DNS server for now. Just click next, 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 install. This setup should be pretty fast, so I won't have to pause it. After the reverse lookup, we will install Active Directory. Then we are gonna promote this server, and we're gonna create a new forest called example.com. And that will be it for today. So that will be creating our first DC on our test network. And what we're gonna do on the next video, I don't really know yet, because I'm not sure how I'm gonna how exactly I'm going to use my test lab, but I'm doing this as a favor of one of my teachers. So it's also good for myself to just practice on my speech in public, and all the English names and how to explain things in English. So it gets me points on some of my college. So there we go. DNS is installed. Installation succeeded on DC1. And then we're going to Tools, DNS. And this is very easy. We're just going to open the DNS manager, expand DC1, and expand the reverse lookup zones. right click it and create a new zone, and we're going to create click next. Primary zone we're going to make it, and it's an IP version 4 and not IP version 6. I'm still working with 4. And the network, our network ID is 192.168 and 230. If you're using an IP address like 10.0.0.0.0 and then backslash or /8, so 255.0.0.0, you will put in here 10.0.0, and well, it's just for the node ID. Well, this is the network ID. Click next, create a file. Yeah, that's alright. And I'm going to allow both non-secure and secure dynamic updates, because I want also my DSP clients to get a reverse lookup automatically with my DSP. So that's almost everything you need to do for the reverse lookup. This will be filled in once you create the Active Directory. So now we're going to install Active Directory, and I'm going to pause the screen for a little bit because this is going to take a long time. Be right back. Okay, so my Active Directory role just finished installing, and we are going to promote the server to domain controller. But before we're going to do this, I'm just going to open a little notepad, and I will put on paper step by step what you're going to do. So you will install Windows Server, and I'm using now 2012 R2. After that, you are gonna give it, you're gonna change the host name to something simple. Must be simple and easy to remember, and it has to say in the host name where the server is used for. Like DC1, it's domain controller number 1. But if you're creating a new file server, for example, you can call it FS1 or DHCP1 or anything like that. You have to install static IP, configure it, then install DNS role, configure reverse DNS, install Active Directory domain services, and then promote domain controller. So we're just going to do the last step right now for this video. I will paste this one in the description so you can copy paste it and just use it like a checklist. Like, have I changed the host name? Yes. Have I changed the static IP? Yes. Have I configured the DNS? Because that is very important to have configured the DNS. I'll just save this for 1 minute on my desktop. And I'm gonna promote this server to the domain controller, and then we get this window. Well, if you already have an existing forest, you can add a new domain to an existing forest, or add domain controller to an existing domain. Add a new domain to an existing forest is like a child domain. So if I want to call like intra.example.com, I'll have to put in parent name example.com and select the right DC for that domain, for the top level domain. And then for the new domain name is just intra, and it will automatically create the FQDN for it. But right now we are going to create a forest. Our forest is called example.com, and you're just gonna click next, and this can take a while. Don't worry if it takes too long for this to take. The deployment must be done in like 15 to 30 minutes most. That's really max. Like, this video is I think not even 10 minutes, and I paused the screen for a while, but that was just for the rebooting. So let us see. Functional level of the new forest and root domain. The forest domain, I want the functional level of the forest on 2008 R2, because maybe I'm gonna add one of those servers, and the domain functional level is also the same. So I can have all my options open. The DSRM password is for the directory service restore mode. Just use the same password as you always use. I use a simple test password for all my cases. The parent zone cannot be found, but it will create it, so don't worry about the error showing up. The NetBIOS name, it will put automatically example. It's most of the times like if you use testing.local, it will create a NetBIOS name testing, and we have example.com, so it uses the NetBIOS name example. You can change this if you want, but I do not recommend it. Just keep it simple. All of location for the Active Directory databases, I will not change those. If you're using this in a real network, I would recommend changing them and just change them to your disk drive, to another drive, a second drive you have installed on your server. And just click next. Until you see this, it's going to search if there are any errors in your configuration you just filled in. And one of the errors is going to come up, that's encryption. And you don't have to worry about that one, and you can just click install. But I don't really know how to resolve this before installing Active Directory. But in the beginning, when I installed the my first domain controller, like my first, it already gave this error, so I wouldn't worry most of it about it. It's also in the TechNet labs from Microsoft itself that says that you can ignore the errors. DNS delegation, well, it cannot be created. Okay, and the security settings. You can change it, of course, if you want, and then go previous and change again, but it won't be necessary for us. It's going to install now, and I think it's going to take about 2 minutes to promote, so I'm gonna pause the screen for now and come back after the restart. Okay, so it has just rebooted, and what we're gonna do when you first try to log in, make sure you take the example /administrator and not another user, so you don't log in local to the DC but on the domain. It's applying some policies, and then it's gonna start up my desktop again. And the one thing I want to show you is the reverse DNS and the already DNS, how it's configured, and why it's important to show how it's important to just to create the reverse zone. Let me see. We're just gonna start up the DNS manager. DNS. Real quick. And we're gonna expand DC1. And in the forward lookup zones, if you expand it, you can see that there are two zones created. The underscore msdcs.example.com and the example.com. Well, the example.com is the primary zone. And you can see here that DC1 is configured to 192.168.230.10 statically, and in the reverse it has to show here the DC1 and with the IP address, so the name will be the IP address and the data is dc1.example.com. How to create this is example.com, and just right click your DC, go to properties, and then check update associating pointer record PTR, and if you go back to the reverse lookup zone and you just refresh it, you will see that the PTR is created. So now if I use CMD for NS lookup, and then just the IP, so 192.168.230.10. It will look up the IP and will come back with dc1.example.com, and vice versa. So look up dc1.example.com, it will come back with my IP. You see? Well, this was it for now, guys. Please leave a comment if you like these videos. Oh, wait. I'm just gonna show you one more trick that I like to do. I'm going to shut down my server. And we are going to create a snapshot. Snapshots are really checkpoints. Sorry, checkpoints are really necessary if you're building like an example domain, and even if you're using this on a production network, it can be very handy, because if you have an error, you can go back to your previous snapshot. So if you do this, like configuring DNS checkpoint, promote this server, promote the domain controller checkpoint. You can also go back step by step and see where you got where it's gone wrong. So we're going to create a checkpoint, and we are going to rename it to configured dc example.com, and that's just it. Or configured active directory, because my server is also called dc, and then just example.com. So we can also always go back to this point, like after we configured our active directory. You can also create a base checkpoint. So if you first put it up, you entered your password, set up your static IP and hostname, you can shut it down, create a base snapshot, and then continue. But that's on you guys to tell or say if you want to do that. Thank you for watching, first of all, and please stay subscribed to my channel for more of these videos. Follow my other series I'm working on right now from the command line revolution. If you have any questions or any trouble, please leave a comment. I don't always reply immediately, but the last time and for sure in the summer I will be replying. Yeah, what else is there? Please leave a like, a dislike, tell me what you thought about these videos and about the series I want to create. I think that's about all, so see you guys later.